Let's have a look at the VAT detail reporting in QuickBooks. If I go to taxes down the left hand side and go to my reports, which at the end of the open return there under prepare returns, a little drop down arrow gets me to my reports. So my VAT detail is here, the third report down. If we click on there, so really once we've looked at the VAT summary report and we've got a clear idea of the kind of numbers we're looking at, the next thing to look at after the summary is this VAT detail report. This will give you analysis, a breakdown of the individual transactions that are making up the different boxes of the VAT return. So my box 1 is here, my box 4, and if we carry on down we get box 6, box 7. So it goes through all the boxes of the VAT return. So this is where we would spend some time looking at the detail in here to make sure we've got the correct VAT codes in our appropriate transactions and that we haven't got anything obviously jumping out that's causing us potential problems. So you can see here box 1, I've got a couple of transactions in here, and on the face of it everything is looking reasonable. I've got a 20% code on both transactions, but then we actually spot that the transaction type here is different. We've got invoice and we've got a deposit in here. So again, not only are we looking for VAT codes, we're looking for potential issues that may arise due to errors in processing transactions. So I've got an invoice here. We know from earlier that this is on an accrued basis, so it's picking up the VAT on the invoice on the day that I raise the invoice. But I've also got a deposit here and it just happens to be for the same amount. So that's a little bit interesting. Yeah. And the fact is that this is the same company name as well. So it's quite possible that I may well here have an invoice in with my VAT on, but when the money's come in to the bank, instead of receiving it against this invoice, I may well have put a deposit in here, which in this case will then have counted the VAT twice. So it may well be that I'm double counting my VAT in this instance. So that's the kind of level of detail we would look at when we get into our VAT detail reporting to see whether things are making sense. So we wouldn't pick this up in the comparison of turnovers, because both these amounts will have gone into my profit and loss. So not only have we inflated the VAT that's due, we will have inflated the sales as well, but we would have picked this up in a couple of other areas. We could have picked it up when we do our bank reconcile. If the invoice had been shown as a received payment, then the money would have shown out of the bank twice. So if I click on the invoice here, I'll be able to see whether that invoice is outstanding or has been received, and I can see it's been received. So it's likely that I would pick up this error when I'm reconciling my bank. It will be showing me 2 payments into the bank account. If this invoice hadn't been paid, then I may well find that error through my reporting here, and I would look at my reporting of outstanding debtors. So my accounts receivable aging would be the report I would look at here, and if that money hadn't been shown going into the bank, the balance would still be shown outstanding as a debtor in here. So there are a couple of other places in QuickBooks we would pick up the error, but in this case we've picked it up in our detailed reporting on our return. So we'd have to correct that particular error to make sure we're not double counting the VAT and paying too much in our VAT return. So that's an example of why we're looking at this detailed report in some detail to see how we're working the processes. So again, box 4 we'd equally look at, and again we're interested in whether we've got VAT that we're claiming back. We'd also be interested to say we have got supporting evidence of these VATs, so we want to make sure that we can justify these amounts. We've got the paperwork to justify it to HMRC, so we want to check that as we check through our detail report. We'd also want to make sure that we've got, again, nothing that jumps out as being inconsistent. And at the top here we've got a similar problem we had on the sales side, but on the purchase side where we may well have a problem. We've got a bill in QuickBooks, so a purchase invoice to this particular supplier, but we're also showing a check, we're also showing a payment out to the bank on the same date to the same supplier. So again, there's potential for duplication here. In terms of the entries into QuickBooks, it's showing up as a duplicate VAT potentially, but also the bill will be in, the cost will be in twice, that it will be in as a bill and a check. And we'd have to investigate whether the bank reconciles, but also we'd look potentially at our accounts payable aging summary report to see whether this bill was still outstanding on there. And if it's outstanding on there, the bank would still reconcile, but we would have this transaction that would never clear. So again, yeah, we've not got a payment receipt against this particular bill, so this bill will stay outstanding because we've not got any money that we're paying out against it out of the bank account, so we would pick up the error in the accounts payable aging report. So these are a couple of examples in our detailed report here of me picking up errors due to the transaction types, and just overviewing the detail on this particular report. Equally, this is only showing me the 20% here, so I'm equally interested if I go lower down here in my box 7 to the areas where I'm not actually claiming any VAT back. So we've got a couple of entries here which are EP exempt purchases, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing out on any VAT, that I've put the correct codes in here for these particular payments that have been made. And there may be an error here as well, because I noticed that Christina is here as an exempt payment going out in November there, but earlier in the month I've got Christina going out as a 20%. So there's something again inconsistent there that I want to look at within the detail as I analyse my VAT detail report. So we just picked up areas of concern on the report would require further investigation before we're comfortable that our reporting is correct in here. So that just shows you how important it is to spend some time, invest some time in reviewing the VAT detail report. We're looking for possible duplication, we're looking for possible missed opportunities to claim VAT, and we're also looking at the possibility we may have claimed VAT on transactions in here that we haven't got receipts for, or we put the inappropriate VAT codes in. So that's the VAT detail report, and we will spend some time, invest some time in analysing that each VAT quarter.